Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show. And my name is indeed Avrum Rosensweig, and I'm very, very delighted and happy to be here with you. We have an extraordinarily unique show today, and let me just dive right into it and tell you exactly what we are hoping to accomplish over the next short while. My guests today are Tinashe and Tinotendo Mufuka. They are in Zimbabwe, rural Zimbabwe, as we speak, and they are accompanied by Padrina Thistle. Let me give you a little bit of a context who these boys are. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you. On July 20th, 2004, these two boys were born. Twins. Conjoined twins. Now, this is a phenomenon in the world. Maybe 1 out of 50,000 children are joined in various different ways throughout the world within a year. And many of them, a third of them do not survive or are born stillborn, and then many of them die after death. Thank God. Tinashe and Tinotendo were in the care of Dr. Paul Thistle, of his wonderful wife, Padrina, who is standing behind them today, a nurse. And at that time, Dr. Rachel Spitzer, who was a individual who was really building her career in a tremendous way. She has an incredible CV, and she was in Zimbabwe through Via Hafta, the Canadian Jewish Humanitarian and Relief Committee. At that time, Via Hafta did international work. Tinashe and Tinotendo's mother, Elizabeth, came to the hospital, and she was clearly in labor. Paul, together with Rachel, Paul is the chief of staff today at the Kirunda Mission Hospital. At that time, he was the chief of staff at the Howard Hospital, which was in Glendale, Zimbabwe. They set about preparing for a C-section. And thank God these two boys were born, and indeed they were conjoined. I want to show you a picture here as to how they were conjoined at the liver. Okay. Now, that was fortunate because a lot of conjoined twins are joined much more so, which becomes very, very dangerous. Long and short of it is that through Rachel Spitzer's work, through Paul and Padrina's work, through the work of Via Hafta, these boys were brought to the SickKids Hospital in Toronto. Together, there was Dr. Langer and his whole team of doctors, whom we will speak about throughout the show, did an incredible job of separating these boys. Today, we are blessed to have them on the show. They have grown beautifully, having just lovely lives, and they have agreed to be with us. Now, they don't speak English. They only speak Shona, and my Shona is not too good. My Yiddish isn't that great. But we're gonna do what we can here to bring forward the message of their lives, how they're doing, what they've gone through, their appreciation of it, and do our very best to have a good communication here. Padrina will be the translator, so let's dive in and see how this goes. Padrina, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Avrum. How about yourself?
I am doing really, really well. I have to tell you that I have such wonderful memories of you and your family, Paul and your three boys, because you've always been so warm and so loving to me, to Viahavta, to the Jewish community, and just to all the people who come join you to help out in your mission hospitals. You're just very loving people. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Avrum. We also feel very much loved by you and all the Jewish community that supports us. So thank you.
Oh, that's lovely, Padrina. Thank you so much. How are things going? You are a nurse. You've been a nurse for a number of years. You're a teaching nurse. How's your job going in rural Zimbabwe?
My job has been good. I continue to teach midwifery. The only sad part is everybody that I teach, I lose at the end of the year because they are all going west for greener pastures.
Yes.
So that's saddening. That's quite saddening. Otherwise, I enjoy what I do every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be hard. It's like teaching a kindergarten class, grade one, grade two, and then you have to switch off your kids every single year. That's not easy, is it?
No, it's not easy, but the greatest pain is when they leave the country because I'm teaching them so that they can stay and help the poor people here, but instead everybody just leaves for the greener pastures in the Western countries. So that's
Yes.
quite hard to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I was always so fascinated by your relationship with Paul. Paul is a fellow from Scarborough, Ontario, which is a part of Toronto here, eastern side of Toronto. And he really is Toronto. He really is. And he and I joke around all the time, drawing upon some of the comedians of old. Good day, eh? How about a beer, eh? Like, he's funny. He's got a great sense of humor. And he's just such a fine, fine human being. How did the two of you meet?
Well, he flew all the way from Canada to find me, Avram.
To find you?
To find me, yeah. Well, when he came to Zimbabwe back in '95, I
Yes.
was running the OR, so we worked together, and we went to church together, and we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. Yeah.
You're Salvationist, right? From the Salvation Army, right?
Yes, I am from the Salvation Army.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the boys a little bit. Let's see how this translation is going to go. Please ask them how they are doing and how their family is doing.
Vanofara zvawo.
So
Vanofara zvawo.
they're doing okay. The family is doing fine, they say.
Could
Yeah.
we hear a little bit about their family? How many siblings? How's their mom?
Chimbotaura kuti mune amai venyu vakadii, munana sisi kana vanin'ina here vangani, mungotaura izvozvo kuti vazive.
Amai vanofara zvawo. Anasisi vanofarawo zvawo. Varipo vaviri.
Vakuru kwamuri.
Mm.
Okay. So they said their mom is doing fine, and so are their two sisters who are older than them, because that's who they live with.
Oh, the two sisters are older. Okay. Their mom is Elizabeth Mufuka. And
Yes.
what's interesting is that they live in an area which is called the Mufuka region. Is that correct, Padrina?
Yes, it's the Mufuka village.
Why is it called Mufuka?
Uh, Traditionally, the land is divided according to clans, and you have a headman for each clan. So where they live, their grandfather was the headman. That's why the area is called Mufuka.
Okay. Okay. So would they be considered special in that village, in that area, because they're Mufukas?
Yeah, they kind of own the village, the land. They have more benefits in terms of getting land. Yeah,
Okay.
they sort of look after the other families and tell everybody else what to do and when they should do it, that kind of thing.
Yes, I've always wanted to own a village. It must be nice. All right, let's find out who these boys are. Once again, it's Tinashe and Tinotendo Mafuka. What where are they at now in terms of their lives? Schooling, working, where would they be at now?
Because not mufuta zvekuchengeta huku.
Mm.
Chimwe chii chamakaita?
nezvepeki.
Do that. Okay, so the boys went to school up to Form 4 here, which would be about grade 11, because that's the first level of secondary education. So they went through that, and they now are into poultry, raising chickens for sale, and they're also learning to build, like to build using bricks. They are working with a contractor who's helping them to learn to build.
Okay. And if you were asking him, how is life in general?
Upenyu when you were saying
Uri nani chose.
uri nani, wakareruka, wakaoma, wakaita sei?
Unombotoonei uchitamba murava.
Okay. So in general, life has been okay, but sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's good. So it's been like that on and off, but generally speaking, it's been good.
Okay. I know that Zimbabwe has had its struggles over many, many years, but you always give me faith and hope that things will go well, Padrina. You always do, and so does Paul. Um,
Someday,
ask the boys, please. Do they have a strong consciousness of how they were brought into this world as conjoined twins? Are they aware of that very often? Do they think about that?
munonyatsoziva here kuti makazvarwa sei?
Tinongoita kungoona pamapicha atinawo.
Munongoita zvekuona, saka mutonyatsozvizivawo kana kuzvinzwisisa.
Tizi.
Hapana kambotaura nemi.
Varipo but tinongoita zvongoona pamapepa nekuverenga.
Okay. So no one has really sat down with them to explain everything to them, but they've seen clips of newspapers that explain how they came into this world. And there are some people who mention here and there that they were conjoined, but they don't have the full story.
Oh, okay. Well, that gives us kind of an in. Is it okay if we really embark on the journey, what occurred?
Zvinoita here kana mukanyatsoratidzwa maitikiro azvakaitika?
Hapana chakaipa.
At least unodha musoro kuti zviri right here.
Zvinhu.
Very right. So it's okay, yeah. It's okay. They would love to see. If
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that together, Padrina. But before we do, one thing that I wonder about with twins in general is their awareness of one another. You know, their consciousness, their understanding of how the other person thinks and walks and talks, and maybe even what their next sentence or what their next word is. Do the boys, do they find that they are extraordinarily similar in nature? Do they finish each other's sentences?
That's what I'm finding here. They've the exact same answers. When they speak at the same time and they're saying the same thing, Avrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you ask them about that? How does that work?
Pamuni muchitaura makambozviona here kuti munhu wotaura zvakafanana panguva imwe chete?
Ichokwadi.
Ichokwadi. So they both said it's very true. They think about the same things at the same time, and they all say the exact same thing at the same time.
Well, it's fascinating. Are there any ways that they're really, really, really different? One's into hockey, one's into football, you know, that sort of thing.
Munoita zvakasiyana here kuti mumwe anodai chi mumwe anodai chi kana mitambo kana zvimwewo pauti munoteerera mumhanzi yakafanana munotamba zvekutamba zvakafanana?
Tese tofarira kutamba soka.
Mese munofarira soka?
Pamumhanzi tongofarira sungura.
Mese ndo yamunofarira?
Pana zvakati.
They love the same songs. They play the same games. They both play soccer. They both have the same best musician, and they just finished that together.
That's fantastic.
They just said it together, yeah.
But do they recognize? I'm not sure how to ask this question so much, but do they recognize that they're individuals? Do they understand their individuality?
Asi imimi muri tu munoziva kuti muri vanhu tu vakasiyana, nyangwe makafanana munozviona sevanhu tu vakasiyana. Yeah.
Mhm.
They do recognize that
Okay.
they're two different people. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do they know any jokes?
Mune zvamunombotaurawo zvekujoka zvekuseka.
Nguva zhinji bhizi nemabasa.
Eh?
Nguva
No
zhinji
jokes.
taura kunoshandisa kurefunika.
So no jokes. They don't say any jokes. They want sensible stuff all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do they ever, when they're together, do they ever laugh their heads off?
Kana muri two munombotaura nyaya zvekufa nekuseka.
Zhinji ndedzongokurukurawo kuti tichazovei muupenyu hwedu.
Asi munombosvikawo nguva yamunoseka here muri two.
Mm.
Sometimes they do laugh their heads off, but
Okay.
most of the time they're thinking about their future and talking about their future.
So they're very serious then. Okay, good. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go then. We're going to approach this a little bit differently. Let's actually introduce to the boys Tinashe and Tinotendo Mifuka, our guest today, together with Padrina Thistle. Let's walk them through for a moment as to how they were born from a physical point of view. So I'm going to put up the slide. And Padrina, I want you to kind of take a lead here. As you were a nurse, you remember when they were born, you were there. Can you explain to the boys exactly what we're looking at here and how what that meant in terms of their birth?
And mukuona zvazvakaita.
Mm.
Mukuona kuti apo manga makabatana chitaka handitya mese muri two mamene chitaka one. Saka iwewe ndio kusaidi kuright handizvo. Saka pamaino kana kudya chikafu chizhinji chaenda kune uyu because liver yanga yakawandira kune uyu. Zvaisofamba zvese zvaenda kune Tinashe. Handizvo Tinashe.
Ask them what they think of that they were born that way.
Munofungei nezvazvo kuti makazvarwa makadaro so.
Zvinhu zvakangooma muupenyu.
Zvakangoma Tinashe ndori kutaura ko Tinotenda.
Zvinhu zvakangooma muupenyu. Zvinhu zvakangooma muupenyu.
Okay, they both say it's very hard to comprehend.
Yes, of course. Of course. Okay. Well, thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. Now, here's a picture of the two boys before they were separated. Do you recall this picture, Padrina?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And ask them, please let them know this is a picture of them and what they think when they look at it.
Ndo zvamama kaita kadai. Handizvo. Maoko enyu chete ayo ndo akapfekedzwa saka kubva pana mama kabatana kadumbu akandiswa. Munofungei nepicture iyoyo?
Tinofunga kuti tinotenda mukutevera.
Okay, so they're saying they thank God for life. They thank God that He saved them and that they are alive today.
Okay. All righty. So we will walk through the days that were important in terms of this whole transition of their life. Once again, the boys were born on July 20th, 2004, through the work of Dr. Paul Thistle, through his wife Padrina, through Dr. Rachel Spitzer, via HAFTA, the Salvation Army. We were able to bring the boys to Toronto, SickKids Hospital, through the Herbie Fund. And they arrived in Toronto on December the 2nd, accompanied by their mother and a nurse. And the surgery took place on March 2005. Could you give them a synopsis of what I just said?
Saka makazvarwa siza yakaitwa musi wa20 July ndo pamakazvarwa nditi. Muna December makabva maenda Canada, takakuendesai kuCanada. Mubva masvikonogara ikoko makazoitwa operation muna 2005. Saka uyu Avrum ndo vakanga varipo vakatibatsira kuti mukwanise kuenda ikoko neinonzi Happy Fund, mari yakashandiswa kuti mukwire ndege. Dr. Thistle ndo vakanga vari pamberi naDr. Spitzer pakubatsira kuti muende kuCanada.
Any response from them on that?
Just the nodding.
Nodding. Okay, good. Yeah, this must be Is this overwhelming to them? Is it interesting to them? How are they feeling right now?
Muri kunzwa sei? Zvinhu zvamuri kuda kunzwa here zviri kuita here kuzviteerera kunzwa nezvenyaya?
Zvinhu zvinoita because munharaunda tozodza kana vana
Okay. So he says this is very good that they are hearing all this because this is history that they'll be able to share with their own children
Okay.
whenever they yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Do they have girlfriends?
Mune vasikana?
dzatana
Kosi musina vasikana?
dziri vana
They say they are too young to have girlfriends.
You know what? We should have mentioned their age. So they would now be 21 years old.
20. They're 20. They'll be 21 in July.
Okay. When they do find girlfriends and get married, will they live in the same village?
Kana mazuva ano vasikana mucharamba muchigara kwamufuka.
kwamufuka kuita kugara mutende kana asika
Muda kuzogara kupi?
achangeta kutotenda
They say if they get married, they'll have to move and find somewhere else to live because this is their mother's home, their mother's rural home. So culturally, they should go to wherever their father is. That's where they need to go and settle. So if they
Okay.
get married, they can't continue living in Mufuka village.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Now, in March 2005, the surgery took place and they were separated. The surgery itself, do you remember how long it took, Padrina? Remember how long surgery took?
I have a rough idea. It must have been more than 12 hours.
No, it was 5 hours.
Was it 5 hours?
Yes, it was 5 hours. Yes. And everything went successfully. The team of doctors and nurses and other individuals in that room was number 25 people. 25 people, if you can tell them that, Padrina.
Saka muna March ndopamakaitwa operation yekuseparated muchekupakati apa ndizvo. Saka pakaitwa operation zvinhu zvese zvakafamba zvakanaka. Mutheatre imomo manga muine vanhu vana chiremba nemanesi vanga varipo 25 kuti mukwanise kuseparatwa kuita zvamakaitwa.
Do they have a response to that?
Mazvinzwa? Pane zvamunoda kutaura pamusoro pazvo?
pari zvinhu zvitongoda kungotenda nekutobatsira kwavakatiita nevese vakaisa ruoko nendaramo kana mari nongoti mwari ndaawedza
They just would like to thank all those people for their help and for making it a success to separate them.
Yes, absolutely. And there were not only the 25 in the room at the time, which is an incredible amount of medical personnel working on these two boys, little tiny boys, but it's also other individuals who were involved in the Ahafta, the organization I started, Salvation Army. There was a whole litany of individuals out there who were involved. I just want to give our listeners and viewers a bit of a context more so about what we were talking about in terms of these boys being born and then ultimately being separated. Conjoined twins are a kind of miracle of incomplete separation. As with identical twins, they form when an ovum splits into equal halves during early embryonic development. The difference is they fail to completely cleave from each other during the crucial first 2 weeks. The resulting fusion of two bodies has its own unique variation. Conjoined twins often share major organs such as a brain, heart, liver, or bowels. They always share skin and only sometimes bones, genitalia, and entire limbs. And they are very rare. As few as 1 in every 50,000, some people say as much as 200,000 pregnancies. Science has yet to determine when it occurs, and the nature has largely not seen on the side of their survival. Half of conjoined twins are stillborn. 1 in 3 live for only a few days. Can you give just a short synopsis of what I said there, Padrina?
Saka apa muri kutaura kuti Zvamakazvarwa makaita zvinowanika but not kuvanhu vazhinji. Kazhinji vamwe vanenge vakabatana musoro, vamwe pamwoyo vachishaya mwoyo umwe chete, vamwe kana mabhonzo, vamwe kana zvese mapata avo epasi anenge akabatana pamwe chete. Saka zvamakazvarwa makaita izvi ndo zvinowanika pakati pevanhu vanozodaro, asi zvevamwe hazvigoni kuzogadzirisika. Saka inini makatoita rombo rakanaka kuti zvenyu zvachikwanisa kugadzirisika. Vazhinji vacho vanofa mushure memazuva mashoma.
Well, what do they feel when they hear that they were born, there was a healthy delivery, and then here they are today, that thank God they're alive? How do they feel about that?
Munonzwa sei kuti makazvarwa makadaro asi makakwanisa kuseparatwa iko zvine zvimwe kuchiraramira zvakanaka mune munhu achirarama zvakanaka?
Tinokwanisa kuba ngokutenda Mwari nekumuona matauro amusinanga.
So they say they are thankful to God
Yeah.
and would like to worship God for his goodness to them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to add to this that, interestingly, surgical attempts to remedy nature's unfinished work in creating two individuals began as early as in the 1600s. In Canada, in 1966, the first surgical separation of conjoined twins was at the Hospital for Sick Kids, which is where they were separated, which is a University of Toronto teaching hospital. But it wasn't until 2 decades later that the institution gained international prestige for its expertise in the surgery. That's when Lynn and Wynne Hoot, Burmese twins, joined laterally at the pelvis, who had been languishing in a Rangoon hospital because doctors didn't know what to do with them, came to the attention of Dr. Robert Filler, then surgeon-in-chief and chief of general surgery at SickKids. So again, if you can give a synopsis of that.
Saka vari kutaura kuti operation yekutanga yakaitwa kuchipatara chamakaseparatwa imini yakaitwa kare kare muna 1966 nachiremba vane zita ravataura iro. Vanhu vavakatanga kuseparata vakanga vakabatana pamabhonzo pakati panapa, vakagara nguva yakareba vanhu vachida kuti voita sei navo, vachingotambudzika vari muchipatara. Ndopakatanga kuitwa operation, asi zvakatozotora mamwe makore futi kuti chipatara icho cheSickKids chizozivikanwa kuti vanokwanisa kuita izvozvo zvekuseparate matwins anenge akabatanisa izvo.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, Dr. Robert Filler said, and he was responsible for putting together this team, he said there's nothing routine about surgically separated conjoined twins. Quote, it's not like you get 1,000 of these done this way and 1,000 done that way, and then you compare the outcomes and make a decision. Dr. Filler said, the numbers are too small. The cases are so rare that a doctor must bring to surgery a full career's worth of understanding, an advanced knowledge of physiology, anatomy, and surgical principles, and experience with complex surgery such as organ transplants. Clinical experience is paramount. Padrina.
Chiremba vanonzi chiremba Filler vanova mukuru weizvozvo zvekuparadzanisa matwins anenge akabatana mapatya anenge akabatana zvanoma makaita, vakataura kuti hazvina kureruka kupatsanura vana vanenge vakabatana nekuti hazvisi zvinhu zvinogara zvichiitika mazuva ese, zvinhu zvinowanika apo neapo. Saka hapana nganzi ane unyanzvi chaihwo kuzviita, asi kuti zvinoda nyanzvi dzakawanda pamusoro pekuita zvekuoparetwa kwevanhu kuti vaite basa iroro, nekuti mapatya ega ega avanowana anenge akabatana saizvozvo anenge akatobatanawo nemumwe mutoo wakasiyana. Saka hapana nzira one yavangati aya ndo maitirwo azvo. Saka kutoitwa kwazvo ibasa rakaomarara zvekuti rinoda unyanzvi hwepamusoro-soro.
Is this a good education for their lives? Is this helpful to them?
Zviri kukubatsira here zvatiri kutaura
Zvokutibatsira muupenyu.
Okay. Yes, they're finding it very helpful.
Okay, good. Tell them to give me the thumbs up there so we can communicate. Thanks, boys. Now there are, they have lovely smiles. Tell them I said they have lovely smiles.
Nyemwerera zvakanaka pano. Saka nyemwerera kakawanda.
Now, there's a couple of names that we have to really highlight. Dr. Spitzer, Rachel Spitzer is one of them. And she went to the Howard Hospital to work with Paul Thistle, Dr. Paul Thistle, whom we spoke of before. He was the chief of staff there. And she was there. And what she did, she delivered the babies. She delivered the boys. And 3 weeks after the twins were born, she taped an x-ray of the babies to a well-lit Howard Hospital window and snapped a picture of it with her digital camera. Using a slow internet connection in Harare, it took her several hours to email the image and a few other digital photos to Dr. Langer, who was on the team to separate them. But she said it paid off. The images confirmed that Tinashe and Tinotendo were omphalopagus conjoined twins, attached abdominally at the liver. And it was also evident that each baby had all the organs a person needs to survive, but without that surgery, they would likely meet a premature death. Padrina.
Saka chiremba vanonzi Rachel Spitzer vakanga vari kuHoward panguva yamakazvarwa nini, ndo vakaita operation pamwe chete nachiremba Thistle. Saka chiremba Spitzer vakatora picture yenyu muri two, makatorwa x-ray, ndobva vatora picture iyoyo ndobva vaenda nayo kuHarare, ndobva zvavatoverera zuva rese kuti vatumire picture iyoyo painternet handiti iende kuna Dr. Chiremba Lenga vari kuCanada kuti vazoona. Ndopa vakaona kuti makanga makabatana paliva pachitaka, asi mimwe mitezo yese miri wenyu, munhu nemunhu anga ine mitezo yake inokwanisa kuti ararame, asi dai maisiwa kwemwedzi kana mushomanani makadaro pasina rubatsiro ranga muchawana, maifa makadaro musingakure zvinoenderera kumberi.
Padrina, you're great at translating. You're very good.
How do you know?
No, you're right. Good point. How do I know? You could be reading them Dr. Seuss, as far as I know. But
yeah, I'm doing my best. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing great. And the boys seem to be very, just a sense that I have that they're almost overwhelmed by their own history. I mean, would that be accurate?
So they're overwhelmed because it's the first time ever that they're hearing this.
Yeah. I feel so happy that we're doing this. Thank God. And is it registering well with them? Like, what would be their strongest feeling?
zvakanaka kuziva munharaunda yako.
So they're happy to hear all this.
Okay,
they're taking it all in and they're really grateful for the opportunity to hear about this.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I want to mention Dr. Michael Silverman as well. Dr. Michael Silverman was the head of medicine and science through via HUFTA, the Canadian Jewish Humanitarian Relief Committee at that time. And as I said, we did a lot of international work because of him, both in Zimbabwe as well as in Guyana and other places on our planet. And Zimbabwe was a real mainstay for our work. Michael went there and he worked with Paul and Padrina and others on trying to help the situation with HIV/AIDS in Zimbabwe at that time. Just in a nutshell, sometimes people ask Paul, why is it a Scarborough-born doctor in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, a very wealthy area of the world, why is it that you decided to make Zimbabwe your home and to stay there all these years? And his response was very beautiful, as he is a beautiful, beautiful man. He said, look, here's what we have to deal with. In Karanda Hospital, there are 152 beds. There are 5 doctors doing 3,500 surgeries per year. There are 20 midwives doing 1,800 deliveries. There are 30 nurses. Annual government support is $30,000. $30,000. Hospital is run on a budget of 1% of a similar size hospital in Ontario. Outpatient seen annually, 75,000 people. National support provided to 15,365 malnourished residents. That's Paul's response as to why he stayed in Zimbabwe, because he felt that he could make a big difference, and indeed he has. Do the boys know about your husband and his work, Padrina?
Munoziva zvachiremba nebasa rawo muZimbabwe, chiremba Thistle.
tinongoziva bamira pano.
They only know that he's a doctor and he helps people in Zimbabwe.
Okay, would you mind telling them? And I just think it would be important to me. Just tell them that your husband was the chief of staff of the hospital when they were born, and he was the one who really set about, together with Rachel, to make the separation happen. He played a key role in their lives.
So anoda kuti muzoti chiremba Thistle akanga ari mukuru weawadi pamakazvarwa imimi, ndo vakaita kuti muende kuCanada ivo naDr Rachel Spitzer. Dai pasina ivavo mungadai musina kuenda, saka vanoda kuti muzive kuti vane chinhu chikuru chavakabata muupenyu hwenyu, vakabata basa guru kuti mukwanise kuzopatsanurwa nekuti munge muripo saizvozvo.
Tell them they might want to give him a big hug when they see them. Paul's not very huggy, though, is he?
Well, to me, he is.
Well, good. I'm happy to hear that. Good. Now, Tinashe and Tinotendo, you should know that when you arrived at the SickKids Hospital in Toronto, you were malnourished. Can you tell them that?
Vanoda kuti muzoti pamakabva kuno kuZimbabwe muchienda kuSickKids yekuToronto, makanga miri yenyu yakanga isina chikafu chakakwana.
Okay. But soon enough, that was fixed, that was dealt with. And by the time they arrived at the surgery room, they were robust. They were much healthier and well fed.
Saka izvozvo zvakakurumidza kugadziriswa kuCanada, zvekuti pamakazenge makutorwa kuti muende kutheatre kunoopereshwa, makanga masimba makukwanisa kuitwa operation, nekuti chekutanga wakatanga vambokufidha kuti mutange masimba kuti mukwanise kurarama pavaita operation.
Now, there were a couple of challenges that the team had to face. Padrina, one of them was the anesthetic. The question, the tricky... Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
Vari kuti pane chakanga chakaoma kukukotseresai kuti maizokotsereswa sei sezvo mamakabatana.
The question was how much anesthetic to give each child. And the reason for that is because the twins shared a blood vessel in the liver, which shunted more blood and nutrients to Tinashe. There was no way to know how much each twin weighed separately. That's fascinating. And how much of one baby's anesthetic would end up in the blood supply of the other. We risk giving an overdose to one and an inadequate amount to the other, said Dr. Kenzik Carsley, the lead anesthetist for the surgery. In the end, they treated the twins as if they were of equal weight. Dividing the boy's liver was less of a worry, said Dr. Langer. Although the livers joined over a large area, they were actually separate organs, each with its own bile, drainage, and blood supply. Padrina.
Saka vati chakanga chakaoma ndechekuziva kuti vanokupai mushonga wakawanda sei wekukotseresa munhu nemunhu. Vaitya kuti pamwe kwauri Tinashe kwaizouya mushonga wakawanda kudarika waenda kuna Tino, nekuti tsinga yakanga iri pakati pechichaka chenyu yaipa chikafu chakawanda kwauri. Saka vaitya kuti mumwe anogona kuzokotseresa zvakanyanyisa, mumwe oshaya mushonga kuti paoperation achirwadziwa, nekuti papasina nzira yekupatsanura uremu hwenyu, kuti anorema zvakareba zvakawanda kudarika mumwe ndiani, uye kuti anorema zvakaita sei. Saka vakazongofunga kuti rega tongoti vanava vane uremu hwakafanana, sezvo munhu nemunhu anga aine mwoyo wake neitsvo nezvimwe zvese zvake, muchingogoverana chitaka chete. Vakabva ngofunga kuti rega tikuisei uremu hwakafanana, then vakabva vakukotseresai saizvozvo, nekuti vaiti chitaka chenyu nyange changa chakabatana paarea yakakura stereki, changa chiri nyore kupatsanura pane kuti dai yanga uri mwoyo kana imwewo negriken part yemwiri wenyu.
Do they have any questions so far about the medical aspect of it?
Pane zvamungade kubvunza here pamusoro pemarapirwo enyu kana pane zvatataura kusvika pari zvonizvo?
Tinobvunza hapana but tinenge nangotenda nesoro kumatsiko.
Okay. At this point, they really don't have any question. They're just so
Okay.
grateful for all the people who were there to help them.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Just a couple more things that they might find interesting, and I feel so grateful for having this opportunity to introduce this information to them, especially with you, Padrina. I really do. Thank you for this. There's a big aspect of separation surgery, which is called the tissue expander. Are you familiar with that, Padrina? The tissue expander.
It's something I've heard here.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what it is. Um, essentially what it is, it's all the new skin is lost. In other words, when they separate the babies, there's a huge patch of skin which is lost, right? And what they need to do is they need to use a tissue expander, a particular type of material to place over the wound. It's a very interesting thing. Um, all the new skin is lost, which is a big blow given wound coverage is one of the surgery's biggest challenge. New techniques were required. Dr. Langer had written 175 pages for a peer-reviewed journal and 34 book chapters. Among his areas of expertise is repairing abdominal defects in children. In these cases, he often used surgical mesh to strengthen and close the abdomen. But older materials like Gore-Tex don't dissolve in the body, and neither do they grow with a developing child. Then Dr. Langer tried a new support called Surgisis, a bioengineered from big pig cells that's strong and can be absorbed by the body. The patient's own cells grow into this patch, so the patch ends up dissolving and is replaced by the patient's scar tissue, Dr. Langer said at the time. And he decided to use Surgisis for Tinotendo, the smaller twin who would have the larger wound and need support for his abdomen and chest walls. Can you translate that, Padrina?
Saka chinhu chihombe chaizonetsa nditi kuti mapatsanurwa pachekwa ganda panenge pasina nditi saka kuti vazonoti ganda nyowani kuti riri kuvhara ipapo rinobva kopi ndo rakanga iri imwe challenge asi chiremba vanonzi lenga vakakubatsirai inyanzvi pamusoro pemaoperation evana vadiki vane zvavakashandisa zvakanga zvitori zvemhando yepamusoro uye zviri zvitsva pakuvhara ganda pane zvavakaisa mukati umu handiti zvakakura pamwe chete zvichibatsira kuti ganda riripo rikure zvikuru sei kwauri tinotenda nekuti ndowanga wakanyanyorasikirwa neganda rakawanda saka vakaisa iyo mushonga wavakaisa then waikura pamwe chete neganda rako riripo kare kuti pakwanise kufarika.
Okay, nice job. Nice job. This is a picture that I want to show them after they were separated. Can you tell them that's what the picture is? Tell them that they're cuties. So boys, the surgery started at 9:33 in the morning on March 7th. Dr. Langer and his team began the painstaking work of separating you two boys. And a little more than 5 hours later, Tinashe and Tinotendo were recovering in the critical care unit in separate beds for the very first time in their lives. Padrina.
Saka musi wa7 March ndo wakaitwa operation yakatanga nguva dzita 9:33 kuseni handitya zvikatora maawa mashanu zvikati darikei mbijana asi pakangopera maawa iwayo manga matopatsanurwa munhu nemunhu akuzviraramira ari pake.
There is a saying in Shona, and I'm going to break my teeth on it. Please be patient with me. And this is quoting our very dear friend, Dr. Paul Thistle, who says this often. Kugarika tange namo rugare rugotiver. What is sown with tears will be reaped in laughter. Can you say it properly, Padrina?
Kugarika tange namo rugare rosotemera.
Very good. Nicely said. Dr. Thistle often encourages his patients with the saying, Kugarika tange namo, what is sown with tears will be reaped in laughter. And then he says, on a promising afternoon in early April at that time, 2005, just shy of a month after their surgery, a beaming Elizabeth Mufuka displayed her two separate sons, Tinashe and Tinotendo, newly released from the hospital. The twins stayed in Toronto for another few months to have their cleft lips and palates repaired. In June, Paul Thistle planned to bring his family to Toronto for a vacation at that time. He was hoping that if it all works out, he will visit the newly separated twins in the bosom of Canadian healthcare before they return home to Zimbabwe and its spare healthcare realities. Did you actually meet them when you came here and your visit
Yeah,
in
we did.
2008? You
Yes,
did.
we
You
did.
did. Okay. So you overlap. Okay. What I just said, could you translate that to them?
Saka mabva kunoitwa operation isusu takazouya uyanga 2005 neke mamuna june takazouya tichikuonai chiremba vaida kuona kuti muri sei saka makabva mazombotigarei nekuti pane zvimwe zvishoma zvaida kugadziriswa unoziva kuti muromo yenyu yanga yakavhurika pakati apa handiti nekumusoro kwemuromo saka izvozvo zvainge zvichiroda kugadziriswa saka mabva unopatsanurwa makazombogara kuitira kuti izvozvo zvigadziriswa chiremba vakauya kuzokuonai vaona kuti muri sei.
Have they had any physical effects? Anything they've had to watch out for or watch over because of the separation?
Pane here zvinokunetsai kana zvamunofanira kunge muchingwarira nekuda kwekupatsanurwa kwamakaita pane zvamakamboona zvinokunetsai pautano?
Toshanda mabasa akawanda toenda kudzimba kana kutakura zvinyoreva.
Munonzwa kudzembwa papi?
Especially kana musana.
Musana
Mm.
mese.
Mm.
Okay. So if they do excessive hard work, they say they both have problems with pain, especially back pain and on the sides there.
Okay. Just a little bit about themselves. We'll wrap up in a few minutes. This has been very exciting, by the way. Ask them, please, what is their favorite color?
Munofarira color ipi?
Mhm.
Mese.
Mm.
Mese munoda blue.
Mm.
Blue. They both like blue.
They both like light blue. Do they have a favorite number?
Mune number yamunofarira?
Ndofarira number 7.
7. Kweunoda?
1.
Okay. So Tinotendo likes number 1. Tinashe likes number 7.
Oh, you might want to point out to them that we found something different about them.
Hanzi pane zvimwe apa taonawo chinhu chakasiyana pamuri muri 2 zvepanhamba hamuna kufanana handiti?
Uh-huh. Do they read or are they able to watch movies?
Munoverengera kumana mugonoverenga? Munoverenga? Mamuvi munombotarisa? Echishona? Okay. So yes, they can read and they're able to watch movies in Shona.
In Shona, okay. And do they have dreams for themselves, big dreams, things they'd like to accomplish in life?
Pane zvamunoshuwirawo here zvamunoda kuzove muupenyu zvikuru zvamunoda kuzoita muupenyu munodei?
Nekufunga kwangu ndingomba kuti mukukura kwangu ndingobva kumusha mana sekuru ndiitewo panondipana.
Uda kuita musha wako? Okay, ko Tinotendo?
Ndozvandinoshuwawo nekutenda vakatibatsirawo nekuti dai zvaikwanisa munyaya yezvirombo chete vaingovatenda nebasa ravo.
Asi zvamunoshuwira mese munoshuwira kuita misha yenyu?
Panonzi pake ndipo pakati.
Their biggest dream is to have their own properties and not continue living at grandpa's homestead, but
Yes.
to have their own, which is like which they own without anybody else disturbing them. So they each would like to have a family of their own and have a place of their own.
Okay. Do they have any questions for me or for you?
Pane zvamungade kundibvunza here kana kubvunza apo?
Ah,
Kubvunza.
ndingangobvunzawo kuti pakaita mahours mangani tisatamuka.
Makamuka after 5 hours mukamuka kumamuka pakapera operations. So they wanted to know how long after the operation did they wake up. I just told them it's the 5 hours, just over 5 hours, and then they were up.
Yeah, I think you could answer that question better than I can. It was a 5-hour operation, which is shorter than both you and I thought it would have been. But thank God that obviously reflects the fact that it was an easier separation than other conjoined twins. Do they have any other questions?
Pane zvimwe zvamunoda kubvunza? Hapana.
Ask them how this was for them. What was this like for them?
Izvi mazviona sei nekuti takutopedza zvedu?
Zvinhu zvakangonaka kuti zvizotibatsira mangwana.
Zvikubatsirai mangwana. So they said this was a very good thing because this is going to help them tomorrow. Now they have an understanding of where they came from and they'll be able to tell the story to others.
Okay. Had they wondered about this? Had they asked anybody?
Makambozvibvunza here kana kumbozvitsvagawo kuti muzvinzwisise like zvatataura nasizvo?
Ya taingobvunzawo asi taingozvinzwawo muchidii apa ndo patazonzwa zvisenzo.
Okay. Yes, they've asked before, but they never got the full story. They only had all of it today.
Okay. I ask them if they know what hockey is.
Okay, munoziva kuti chii?
Ndisatambovhuna. Ndisandavona.
They have no idea what hockey is.
Padrina, I'm going to leave that up to you to teach them, okay? Because you remember that our volunteers used to bring hockey sticks and I think even a net, and play. We played what we called hockey night in Zimbabwe. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I remember that because I played as well until I got whacked on my legs.
So you'll have to make a commitment to me to them to show them some perhaps some videos on hockey, okay?
Okay.
I want you to tell them, please, from me, that I wish that I was there so that I could give them a big hug. I just feel so incredibly warm knowing that we were all part of this and that, thank God, here they are today. What a beautiful, beautiful moment this is. Please tell them that from me, Padrina.
Handiti dai ndiripo ndakumbundirai asi handikwanisi kuvapo asi ndinonzwa kutenda Mwari kuti takakwanisa kubatsirai tese kuti muve zvaMwari.
And tell them I have an 18-year-old son, Noah, right? And he feels like he couldn't beat up anybody. He's stronger than anyone in the entire world.
Avrum ane mwana wake mukomana ane makore 18 ekuberekwa. Ari kuti anonzwa kunge akasimba seri kudarika vanhu vese munyika yese.
Shall I send regards? Ask them if I shall send regards to them. Okay. Padrina, have you worked with AI at all? Artificial intelligence?
My exposure to computers is limited.
Okay.
I've seen some AI stuff, but not a lot.
Okay, so what I've been doing over the last few months is I've had AI write a poem about my guests. And indeed, that's what I've done today. It's called Ode to Tinashe and Tinotendo. And I'll read it slowly and just do your best to translate it. And if you can tell them this is what we're about to do. It's a poem about them from the internet.
Saka pane inonzi AI yanditwa inonyora zvinhu pakombiyuta. Saka Avrum akagadzira dete riri pamusoro penyu Tinashe naTinotendo. rakanyorwa paintaneti neiyoyo inonzi artificial intelligence inongonyora zvinhu yega saka ndo zvatakuda kusonza kuti zvakanyorwa nzi kudii.
But tell them before I start, I need to see a big smile from both of them.
Mazvinhu zvakandisanda tangada kuonai muchisekerera tangai masekerera kuti akuverengerei.
Good. Okay, here's the poem. I'll read it slowly. Just do your best to translate. In Glendale's embrace, where the skies are wide, two hearts beat as one, side by side. Tinashe and Tinotendo, born of grace, conjoined souls, a shared space.
Saka zvanzi tiri munharaunda yegrandel tiri kunzwa hana mbiri dzichirova, tinotenda natinashe vanozvarwa kuburikidza nenyasha dzaMwari.
You have an incredible memory, by the way. At Howard's gate, the world took its pause, a pair of lives with no cause, but fate had woven a delicate thread, binding them close while dreams were spread.
Tiri pamasuo makuru eHoward, upenyu huviri hwakanga hwagadzirwa. Pakanga pasina tariro, asi Mwari vakaisa tariro kuti zvanga zvisingatarisirwi zvigogona kuitika.
Dr. Thistle, with hands that knew the light, Dr. Spitzer's care to set things right, guided the birth where love did dwell, in the heart of Zimbabwe. It's a story to tell.
Chiremba Thistle, avo vane maoko avo azere nechiedza, nachiremba Spitzer vakanga varipo kuti vabatsire, vakatungamirira kuti kuzvarwa kwevana ava kugone kuitwa kune zvakanaka.
Yet destiny called them far away to SickKids Hospital, where hope would stay. In Toronto's care, through hearts and hands, a plan was set the world would understand.
Asi kunyange zvakadaro tinoona kuti kunyika iri kure kure kuCanada kuToronto uko zvakanga nzira yatogadzirwa kare nekuti ndokwanga kuchazoenda vana ava kuti vazoiswa mumaoko enyanzvi dzaizobatsira kuti upenyu hwavo huenderere mberi.
Via Hafto's love, the Salvation Army's grace, paved the path for a brighter place. 5 hours of courage as time would unfold. A surgery strong, a miracle bold.
Rudo rweBehavta nekutendeka kwehondo yePoniso Salvation Army kwakazarura nzira yakaita kuti mushure memaawa mashanu upenyu hwenyu hugone kuraramika mune zvakanaka.
Two separate lives now able to stand, a future awaiting, a world so grand. Tinashe and Tinotendo, hearts intertwined, in every step their strength defined.
Vana vaviri, upenyu huviri hwakanga hwagadzirwa. Tinashe naTinotenda makabva mapatsanurwa kuti munhu nemunhu agone kuzviraramira nemwoyo umwe chete wanga uri kune vakubatsirai, nenyika yese nekukura kwayo yakakumirirai kuti mugozova neramangwana renyu neupenyu hwenyu hunotaurika.
And finally, through struggle and joy, they rise above, born of compassion, a tale of love, a journey unbroken as paths align, two souls united by stars that shine.
Pakupedzisira, upenyu huviri hwakatangwa kuburikidza nerudo hwakamirirwa nenyika ine zvakawanda zvakaipoteredza, asi inyaya hombe yekuzokurukura yakavapo kuburikidza nerudo uye yakavapo kuburikidza nekutendeka kwevanhu vose vakubatsirai.
I'd like, in conclusion, if the boys can send us a message, send us a blessing, something from their heart. I'd like to hear that from them.
Saka vakuda kuti takupedza varuda kuti mutaure chimwe chinhu, mutaure muchivatumira ivavo vari kutaura nevamwe vese vari kutarisa zvamunovashuwira zvamunoda kungovashuvira varoda kuti mungotaura mazwi ekuvakomborera kuvaropafadza.
aiwa tinotenda mwari ave navo kuvasimudzire mukati muupenyu hwavo.
So Tinotenda says, thank you very much. May God be with you. May He uplift you in your lives. Thank you. Tinashe.
Ndinotoda kungotenda mwari pane vakangoisa ruoko rwavo pamusoro pekuti tibatsirikane peupenyu hwedu. Naizvozvo ndinoti ndinoda kutendera mwari ave nemi.
So Tinashe says, thank you very much to everyone who had something to do with our lives. Thank you very much for all your hard work. Thank you for separating us. Thank you for making life possible for us. And he thanks God for that and says, thank you very much and God bless you.
And God bless them. I want you to know that there, as I said before, there are many people here in Toronto and Ontario and Canada who have the boys in their minds. I know that I think about them a lot. I have newspaper articles about them, and just their very existence really helped to change my life, to make it better. I feel as though the planet is a little bit more unified because we're doing this today, because we help the boys separate and to have a life. But more than that, they gave us the opportunity to do something really, really nice on the other part of the world. And that is just something that we hold dearly in our heart all the time. And we thank God too. We thank God for their that they live. They have hearty lives, and we send our very best to their mother as well. If you can tell them that, please.
Anzi ndongoda kuti muzive kuti nesu tinoti Mwari ngavakukomborerei nekuti ivo zvakavaitira zvakanaka kuti vakwanise kukubatsirai. Vakaona kuti zvakabatanidza nyika mberi kutarisa kuti vakatobatsira pasi rose. Avrum ari kuti kungokubatsirai nekuvapa kwenyu nekukuzivai zvakabatsira kusandura upenyu hwake. Saka anopota achikuonai pamanewspaper kana panoitika zvinhu paTV zvinongoratidza imimi anonzwa kuti zvinoitira zvakanaka. Saka ari kuti muzokwazisawo mai venyu mugoziva kuti nesuwo tinonzwa kukomborerwa nekukuzivai.
Padrina, you know, you did a brilliant job. You have really a terrific memory. Wow.
I tried my best.
Oh, you did. I think, like you said, I think you did a great job. But Padrina, I want to thank you too for many of the same reasons. We here in Toronto and Ontario and Canada interacted with you and your family, and your hospitals extensively, and personally, on a personal level, the work that we did in Zimbabwe means so much to me, and my relationship with you and Paul, your boys. It's just very, very special to me. And I am delighted that you agreed to do this and to bring the boys out. And just a great big hug, a great big Toronto hug to all of you. And thank you. Thank you so much for doing this, Padrina. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you too. Thank you for stretching your heart this far, miles and miles across the oceans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Padrina.
It means a lot to us.
I want to.
Thank you.
We love you too. I want to thank my viewers and my listeners. This has been an amazing show. And please, if you have any questions, let me know at avrum.rosensweig@gmail.com. To the boys, thank you. God bless you. To Padrina and to Paul and your family, God bless you as well. And we look forward down the road to do another interview together and to learn more about life and the world, the planet which we share. So until we meet again, thank you so much, and have a beautiful, beautiful day and week. We'll see you soon.